how was the nighttime without me?
It was great.
Well, don't tell anybody yet. This is just the nighttime teaser. Tonight we've got Shady Grady, and Shady Grady has not shown his face yet. He may not be here. We have Ken's vacation highlights, and we have inventor Gregory Wright. So don't go away on nighttime, because we've also got big sunglasses.
Are we bringing out the little OSU guy?
Huh?
The little OSU. Wonderful travel experience with us.
Well, now you know what I did.
It looked like a lot of fun.
Better than France. You didn't bring shit.
Oh.
You didn't bring crap back. You didn't bring anything back from France.
I brought
nothing.
I sent you a postcard.
Yeah, and it got here 3 weeks after you did.
Well.
And it was postmarked in Des Moines.
Can we?
Gay, we're going to take a break.
Thank you.
We're going to let everybody wake up from the travelogue. When we come back, we're going to talk to an inventor, Gregory Wright. He's not one of the Wright brothers, who are from Ohio, I might add. But we'll be right back and talk to Gregory after this message.
Social Inventions.
We're back on Nighttime. We've got another phone call. Hi. Hello, you're on Nighttime. Who is this?
Yo, what's up, homeboy? This is Miss Spike Lee calling. How you doing?
Mrs. Spike Lee?
Word. I see you've been chilling in Ohio.
Yeah?
That looks like the kind of vacation my grandma would take. What's up with that vacation?
Well, Gay sent me there. I went to the Gay Friends Travel Agency.
Yeah, come on, Gay. Now, I know you can do better than that.
I did not do this, okay? No, he's lying.
You could have went down to Florida, the Keys, somewhere than Ohio.
Well, I went to Cleveland.
Cleveland. What kind of vacation did you take? Come, what's up?
Well, why are you
calling? You did the right thing when you was in Ohio?
You're calling just to bag on me?
No, I'm not bagging on you. I just want to find out, did you do the right thing?
I did the right thing.
What's the right thing?
Well, I can't tell you on the air.
Ah, come on. What's up, Ken? You're the host. You can say whatever you like.
No, I just did, and I think I got censored by Gay.
Yay, sister.
Well, I did see your husband's new film, Mo Better Blues.
No, it's Mo Better Blues, baby.
Oh.
Mo Better.
Well, I can't say that.
Not More Better Blues. Mo Better.
Okay.
Yeah, word.
Well, why are you calling exactly?
I'm just calling to say welcome back.
Oh, well, thank you.
You need a welcome back from that vacation you took to Ohio.
Did you enjoy my video travelogue?
Well, you could have used a little bit of more touching up, but I hung in there just to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, well, thanks. I got to go. I got an inventor on the show.
All right, word, Ken.
Okay. Boy, we'll get some interesting calls tonight. Gregory Wright, welcome to Nighttime.
Oh, well, thank you, Ken.
You are an inventor.
An inventor of many kinds.
Okay, what is, let's just go right into it. What have you invented?
Well, a couple of things that I've invented include myself. I reinvented myself when I was 22 years old. I was headed into a career of being a lawyer.
Wow.
Went to an interview and looked at a bunch of dour faces on two sides of a long table interviewing for a fellowship.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, I could tell, wow, I better reconceptualize myself.
Did you get a patent on yourself when you did that, or is that just something you do?
No, I'm in the public domain.
Okay. So what are you gonna show us here tonight?
Okay, once I decided that what I wanted to do with my life was be creative and try to make things happen that might not happen if I did not do them, I got into amusement park rides. I decided what can be more fun than fun.
That just about says it all.
So I came up with this idea 20 years ago for an amusement park ride I call variously the Wheel of Faces, or maybe the Face Phaser.
The eye-to-eye face phaser.
Consists of two horizontal rings, sort of like a carousel, or maybe like a human dynamo. 2 counter-rotating wheels with maybe 40 or so people on each one, counter-rotating in pitch blackness. Now what happens is all the people are adjusted to be at the same eye level. Let's say we have all women on one wheel and all men on the other. They counter-rotate in darkness, except that as the faces pass each other, all at the same point, a strobe flashes each time. As the wheel gets going, never too fast, and never in a way that would create discomfort or nausea, but to create a persistence of vision effect. Each person on each of the wheels would see all of the people on the other wheel as a succession, a sort of a continuously metamorphosing face, the universal face, the universal man, the universal woman.
So you would see a melding of everybody's features into one
I think that would occur. It would be a very unique and compelling perceptual effect.
And this is at Six Flags Magic Mountain.
Well, I hope it will be by the end of the decade.
Oh, I thought this was a plug for the new ride this spring.
Well, it could be a new ride in the spring of '99, or maybe even '95.
So it's just the kind of thing, it's a face kind of thing.
A face machine.
Okay.
And
I'm sorry, do you construct actual a mock-up, or is it just done on, one-dimensional here, or do you actually design this kind of little...
oh no, for now it's a concept on paper.
Okay.
But I've done a lot of thinking about it. I think it could even generate mental telepathy between two groups of people. This is a speculative idea for now, but I'd sure like to see it given a try.
And what's the invention behind this eye-to-eye face phaser?
Behind the human dynamo, we have something that relates to art. I call this participatory picture making. It's a way in which a lot of people could create a whole variety. Each person would create one or more little pictures, which, when the project, as the project continues, would all add up to a single large picture. And
It's like a giant jigsaw puzzle, or...
Well, it has things in common with that. I have some principles in mind that would make it possible to make a coherent and exciting image out of all of these many disparate little images.
Now, how many people would make this one thing? 30 people? 50?
At least 30 people. Like, let's say you have a classroom full of kids, and you have two stages here, the A stage and the B stage. In the A stage, each kid would create any picture they like to on what I call little tiles.
By drawing, or?
Yeah, drawing, and they'd all use the same type of pen, or maybe they'd all make dots. A pointillist effect, I think, would go a long ways toward making these meld together. Then you add up, in the A phase, this would be half of the tiles, half of the sectors. Then you lay them out, maybe randomly, or maybe according to a very general, approximate, original master image. Then in phase B, all of the interstitial pieces would be created, in between all of the already imaged pieces. The object being to create a sort of textural coherence, a sort of a somewhat coherent image, but the effect would be surrealistic or expressionistic.
And no one's ever come up with this idea before you did?
Well, things like this have been done. I know that years ago the Dadaists experimented with folded strips of paper. One artist would make an image, and then somebody else would make another picture, seeing only part of the pre-existing image. And when they were all done, the whole thing would be unfolded, and you have some kind of continuous image.
But they didn't take the time to get registered or anything?
No, that's what I've done.
Okay.
And you won awards in a contest for these...
So you're not just making this up, you actually have been recognized by somebody for this?
Yes, by the Inventors Workshop International in their Great Idea Contest 1990. I won 4 awards in this year's contest. The plaques were handed out on the 1st of September.
You wouldn't happen to have a plaque with you there.
Darn, I should have brought my plaques.
Okay.
I carry them around in a little bag.
Yeah, okay.
I forgot to bring them.
Yeah, I thought so. You forgot your plaques.
If people would like to enter the 1991 contest, they can contact Inventors Workshop International.
So if someone is an inventor, we have an address or a phone number?
Yeah.
It's going to come up here shortly. We'll just keep talking.
There it is. Those are the 2 numbers. The headquarters number is in Camarillo. That's the 805 number. And the second number is the San Fernando Valley office.
Now, is this nonprofit?
Yes, this is a network of chapters. It's considered to be the oldest of the so-called ethical inventors organizations. They have chapters in many cities around the country, and it's sort of inventors helping inventors.
Any
Now,
type of
there's not-
invention, anything you can think of. Music rides.
Well, what are conceived of as typical inventions, inventions that are turned into products, inventions that are patentable. Now, there's another kind of invention, that's called a social invention. And I belong to something called the Inventors, or rather the Institute for Social Inventions.
Another nonprofit.
This is a copy of their, and that's on the screen here, this is a copy of the journal of the Institute for Social Invention in London. A social invention, I'll read from I'll read their own definition.
And Gregory,
of it.
this is another nonprofit group. They're not
This
out
is a
to steal
non-profit
anybody's
group, completely.
cash.
And it's mostly British, and mostly
Okay.
British members. There's only maybe a dozen U.S. members. But what they're doing is very important. They're collecting all sorts of ideas from all sorts of people who have ideas for ways of making society work better, making the schools work better, the cities work better. A social invention is defined as a new and imaginative solution to a social problem or a new way of improving the quality of life. For instance, a new social service, a new way for people to relate to each other, a new organizational structure, or a new combination of existing ideas. The Institute excludes new products, technological inventions, or patentable devices.
Okay.
And so these are for, well, I guess that defines it.
Okay. Now I'm going to be the spoil sport. In my opinion, all the good inventions are already taken. We already got the light bulb, we already got the television, we already got the car, we already got the plane. There's no more good inventions left. What do you have to say to that?
Oh, that's good news for inventors because I believe the definition of invention, the conventional definition, is that an invention is a combination of existing inventions. So the more inventions there are in existence, the more inventions there are to be invented. And for example, at the end of the 19th century, the head of the U.S. Patent Office proposed closing the patent office. His name was Dewell, D-U-E-L-L, and he goes down in history for having shown the most acute lack of imagination and vision of anybody in our history.
So he agreed with me. There was nothing left to be invented, and after that, a million things were invented that,
Good thing they didn't shut down
including
the
the
patent
large
office.
sunglasses.
Yeah, including
Great
large
invention.
sunglasses.
So what's in the future for you? Are you allowed to tell us about some of your upcoming
Sure.
works in progress?
Well, I am working both on regular inventions and social inventions. I think it's real important to keep in mind that the earlier you are in time, the more you can accomplish, because one thing leads to another couple of things, and those lead to more things. I also am mindful of the fact that a lot of social problems seem to be reaching critical mass. We seem to live in I think the decade of the 90s might be the last period of time in which certain basic problems remain remediable. I think the human overpopulation problem might turn out to be one of these. I
So
think.
you're inventing a big gun to kill people. No, you're not going to tell me.
No, I won't do
specific-
that.
No, you're a specific.
I'm a nice guy. I
No,
won't
I'm just
invent
kidding.
anything to hurt.
So you're looking for social inventions right now.
Right now, I'm looking for social inventions. I'm working on something called IdeaNet, and that's somewhat similar to the Institute for Social Inventions. Only it's the most broadly conceived approach to new ideas that I can think of. Namely, a system whereby anybody, whoever they are, wherever they are, who's got a good idea for something, knows that they can go to a certain place, a certain outlet of what we might call the IdeaNet, and put that idea into the works. There's a chance that they could get some kind of monetary credit for it later, but what they could get would be reputational credit. If their idea has value, then they've got a chance of making it happen and being remembered as the person who made it happen.
All right. Well, Gregory, we are out of time. Thank you for coming on the show. They're
Okay.
giving me the wrap it up signal.
Okay, I'd like to have my
This guy
address put
over
on the
here-
screen,
Oh,
so
we'll
that-
put that up right before the closing credits. This guy here, Frank, will beat us all up if we don't end the show.
Oh, okay. Can I give two phone numbers to suggest people to call?
Sure.
I work for Brain Mind Bulletin, which is a monthly newsletter on consciousness research, education, creativity, learning, psychology, etc.
And the phone number is?
For sample copies, 213-223-2500. And if anybody's got an idea, would like to get into screenwriting, I know just the place to go on that. That's Filmmakers Connection.
And the phone number is?
Is 818 753-1001.
All right, we're out of here. See you next week.
Creativity.
Talking about Dracula and liposuction. So don't miss that.
Let's check his outfit out. Is it great or what?
Oh, now you
I like it, man. He's hot.
You're looking hot.
Hey, should we grab it?
No one was more prolific than Gregory Wright of Sherman Oaks, whose score of ideas included, quote, a large lower house of the LA legislature. The US and California legislature have two houses, so why not this world in a city? And a Los Angeles Citizens Ideas Bank should be immediately established to solicit, capture, organize, and make available the creative ideas hatched by every Angelino for a better Los Angeles. And finally, he suggests we have graffiti legal walls established on some commercial walls for a cumulative, richly textured, participatory, continuously evolving art. Yo, Gregory, I like that idea.
We thank you for those provocative and thoughtful letters. We would like to see more.
By the Body Shop. And today is also the launch of the Book of Visions. This is giant encyclopedia here, published by Virgin Books. And I'm Nicholas Albury. I'm the chairman of the Institute for Social Inventions and the editor of this tome. And here is Sir Peter Parker, who will be presenting the awards. And his I don't particularly like to be described as the former chairman of British Rail and chairman of the LSE and a number of companies. This is Nicholas Saunders, who's one of the directors of the Institute for Social Inventions and started a lot of the businesses in Neal's Yard, one of which, the desktop publishing studio, helps keep the Institute going, so we're very grateful for that. And on the end here is Hilda Rapp, who's another of the directors of the Institute for Social Inventions and a psychotherapist by profession. The format for today is that I give a speech, which lasts a fair time. Probably a longer speech of the day. And then Sir Peter Parker says a few words. And then each of the prize winners will describe their scheme, each of the prize collectors. And if there are any questions, if there's any time, that will be at the end. And there's also tea for the media and award collectors afterwards in Neal's Yard. I perhaps should explain to the award winners how they happen to have been chosen, how they happen to be here. It's how it works is like this, that we scour the media around the world. We've got correspondents in most places who send us clippings and news of developments. And some people write to us as well, and as part of this awards competition. And we drop a shortlist with about 60 or 70 possible ones. And then there are 10 columns with different criteria, which we give marks out of 100 in each column, all the directors and one of the consultants. And so the criteria are things like, is the scheme new, or at least new to this country? Is the scheme imaginative, or at least imaginative enough to appeal to a journalist? Is the scheme feasible? For instance, have they taken into account the vested interest that would be against it? Is the scheme going to help a large number of people? Is it going to have long-term effects? Is it community-based? Will act as a model for other schemes? There's a lot of criteria anyway, so it's a very complicated thing, all goes into the computer. And we were surprised when the 20 top came out this year to find that 11 of them were in the North American continent, which means that several of them this time are represented by people in this country, won't be here in person, unfortunately. But I particularly welcome the main winner this year, which is the Global Suggestion Box, because that's what the Institute is anyway, a global suggestion box. And I've always thought there should be one in the States like ours, and this one is in California. But it's better than ours in many ways because it's accessible by telephone and modem 24 hours a day, so people can enter the database like the International Bank of Ideas and debate the ideas and vote on them and add to them. And I think that almost every social innovation, anything in civilization that's worthwhile is originally a social innovation. Take writing, for example, or the institution of marriage, or the schools, or laws, or even my profession, psychotherapy. All these things were social inventions at one time. And in 100 years' time, this International Bank of Ideas, this global suggestion box, will be accepted as a formal and vital part of society. But for the time being, it's a social innovation, and I think it's a very important one. In a sane society, I think the award winners today would be headline news in all the papers tomorrow. Because, I mean, it's good news for the planet, these kind of initiatives. And, in fact, of course, that won't quite be like that. If I was in charge, and I could do it without censorship, I would have the Chinese system where 70% of the news in the newspapers has to be good news. And, I can't really complain so much this year. I've done 6 interviews on radio in the last 2 days about these awards and about the Book of Visions. Mainly the Book of Visions because it was arranged by Virgin Departments. And just to explain the Book of Visions a bit, how it came about is that it's all thanks to Anita Roddick's daughter. Anita Roddick runs the Body Shop chain. Anita Roddick's daughter gave her a compendium of Institute ideas, previous thing we did, for Christmas. And she rang me up at my mum's house over Christmas out of the blue. I'd never spoken to her in my life before, saying Anita Roddick said she was thrilled by this book and what could she do to help. And so she sponsored the collection of these ideas and made it possible. Plus she's also sponsored the competition for the award system for the last 3 years. Although we're looking for a sponsor for the next 3 years because our time's come to an end on that one. So I still feel pretty exhausted by doing this book because I had to typeset 500,000 words. I feel like some dwarf that's been down a deep diamond mine or something. Just brought the gems to the surface. And it's a sort of record of all the award winners, most of the award winners this year are in this book and previous years, and lots of ideas that weren't eligible for awards like Nicholas Stuart's ideas. And I feel it's like I fantasize a time capsule with this book in it, and civilization destroyed, and human beings destroyed, and some creatures in the future trying to rebuild civilization. They did a damn good job of just using this book for all the minute particulars and the overall picture, because it's all here. Everything in life, from birth to death, is here. And the sort of unifying vision behind this book is John Packworth's vision here of a multicellular, power-dispersed world in which people matter, in which neighborhoods are empowered, and it's a world of small nations, a world where everyone's ideas are encouraged. So we have a society where people's creativity is valued. And I think what I've been doing the last month and a half is learning a verse of a poem every morning and alienating my friends by wanting to recite them. And one of my favourites is a poem called Fanfare for the Makers by Louis MacNeice. So I've written a prose poem, sort of pastiche of this, called Fanfare for the Social Inventors. It's only 30 lines, but it won't make much sense to anyone who hasn't read very carefully the press release, but here it is anyway. A crowded audience. For whom? For what? For the cranks who make the revolutions. For the phosphorescent points of light in these dark ages. For all the acts of kindness that inspire a world where nature is at ease and magic is alive. So fanfare for the social inventors who mine the hardest rock face of them all, society, breaking the mass into the bits that matter. As a ship sheds life rafts as it sinks. As dolphins save a shipwrecked sailor. As a global suggestion box saves our best ideas. As Ernest Hall sees genius in everyone and makes an empty carpet mill into a place of magic, a utopian bazaar where art and commerce meet. As Banderton builds a town for 12,000 souls, designed as if souls matter. As shoulder rangers bombard an abandoned urban zone with senseless acts of beauty. As 8,000 counsellors descend on surgeries to relieve hard-pressed doctors. As Jim Haynes publishes the biggest and most open-hearted address book in the world, bringing west to east, people to people. As Big Issue transforms street people into a self-respecting sales force, earning their self-esteem. As visiting Dr. Riggler's art-stuffed surgery is like going to heaven. As each to adopt a bit of the planet is to save the whole. As to have an idea is then to carry it out. To create is such. Let us have visions and bring on a golden age.
No, that was marvelous. My name's Peter Parker. I had no identity crisis when you described me as ex-chairman of the British Rail, except I haven't had the identity crisis about British Rail as a whole. I'm going to end up with an origami railway. But that's not my task today. In the railways, we did have, a wonderful treasure signal that G.K. Chesterton once sent to us, which said, when he was speaking all over the country as he did, he suddenly had that terrible little message to his wife saying, "I'm in Market Harbour. Where should I be?" Actually, it's such an occasion. We have no such complication or no identity crisis at all. So I may be allowed to one moment, and I promise I'll go on track. I did have a Wogan program where I was brought on some year ago, 2 years ago, and he meets you at the bottom of the stairs, on a rough floor of the dramas, and with all sort of smiling, indiscriminate charm of an air hostess, and waved me to a settee, and behind the settee, hidden by a little curtain, was a chap holding up a prompt sheet with capital letters, and it said, "Ex-Nationalised Industry Chairman, dash, Sir Monty Finiston." You see, I have actually we know why we're here. We have one unifying idea why we're here. It's a damn defining idea. The old Castle living in interesting times, and we're not lacking in these interesting times for technological advances at all. What we desperately need is the social inventions to keep up with all that. That's the heart of it. And somehow or other, the point of the day will have different lusters to everybody. In a moment we shall get to the lust of all the prizes, but for me it has a double luster. First thing about today for me is that we've been going, 7 years?
Yes.
7 years, and we're here with some confidence, and some sense of wonder, some sense of winning. It's an astonishing performance in these last 7 years. And the first thing I would do, which I'm not strictly for at all, is to thank Nate and all his team for having got us here. Yeah. Whenever a train did come in on time, I used to say to my friends, don't feel too good about it, Here is only 9 inches from being a noose. But that, for me, is the first luster. The second point of luster is that the idea that we stand for, that we got committed to, early days. The idea of celebrating new services, new ways for people to relate, is the common denominator we share in this room. This idea has obviously struck a chord at the troubled heart of our industrial society. Not only our industrial society, but internationally it's striking a chord. So we are starters. We are starters. I feel that very strongly as a businessman that I live in times when the whole pageant of power goes to the center of things. I tell you that. Everything points to the center of things. The financial world with its IT is around the world in a tweak. One financial center. We have technology, breathing systems breed bureaucracy, breed weakness, these terrible things. I want to see the multinational powers absolutely inevitable, however hard they try, absolutely inevitably taking giant strides above the world. You can see the center of things, the arrogance of executive power these days. I won't go into politics because other crazily elected executive power. You will see the pageant of power to the center of things. Now, I feel in a strange way, it's absolutely crucial that where we can't signal there's a different way, there is a different value to assert in the face of this ambiguous blessing of technology. Then we should assert it. And then we should find scope for the individual, because the power, corporate power grows toweringly in its great law. It's totally empty, like Canary Wharf. There is corporate power growing gigantic, toweringly, and individual feels in ratio diminished. How then do we find the scope of the individual spark and feel that what he does, the way he does it, the way of doing all the buttons, makes a difference? How do we find ways of that? And that is the idea that we're here talking about, that the individual can matter, and that we can do something about pointing the other way. I mean, in a strange way, we are revolutionary. We are revolutionary. The way the world goes is the way I was just saying. The centralized power. They are more interesting than Marx, it turns out, after a century. He says it's more in the technology and more in the system. It's more interesting than Marx. It's like politics are committed to technology and systems, and weak bureaucracy, and that is the terror. Now, you can see the revolution beginning to work. We're all experts on revolutions. We all know they happen quite unpredictably, and when they've happened, they look absolutely inevitable. Very interesting. We know the pretty loud revolutions, we've heard them in the last few years. But there are imperceptible revolutions that matter just the same. I think of Louis XVI, on Bastille Day, Louis XVI, and an entry in his diary saying nothing of importance has happened today. There are signals that show you what is happening, what is counter to the trading thing. And we're one of them. In a funny way, there are other hopeful signals, even major signals. Major thinking of his charters, but charters are just like signposts, they point the way they're going. We point the way, we try to go somewhere. And that's the point of the Institute of Social Innovation. And we're finding other people want to do the same. Sweden, Russia, Germany, a real sense of quiet revolution. That's how I see our work. In some ways unpredictable, but it is the revolution of the individual against bigness, against big systems happening in a deadly way. In that state, I think our challenge for Social Inventions, and your challenge, Nick, in the Institute, is that important thing, to think of innovation. Good. Innovation is, of course, this project or that project, which you can in a moment celebrate and hear about. But it's also a state of mind. It's a state of mind, isn't it? Not just a project we can afford. It's this whole attitude that takes you mentioned the minute particulars of the way you spoke, and the way your poem read towards the end there, you had one or two Blakean phrases. Blake, you know, was our man. Blake, remember, said, my business is to create. Our business is to create. That's what we are trying our best to do. We have got now a splendid book of these creations, vision. Remember, Blake said to his wife, what do we do when the visions fail us? She's a sweet lady, said, we kneel down and pray, Mr. Blake. So here we have this book of visions. It's not a good bedside book, I imagine. It will keep you up all night with its sitting idea. I think many of the award winners today, I think are in this book, and I'm happy that we can pay tribute to them. In fact, I'm happy that I can, as one patron among others, as one member of this particular audience, salute the Institute. We should salute the winners. We salute our supporters, not here, national and international. We salute the future of innovations. Thank you very much. On with the real business. Present the main Social Invention Award for 1992, which is a special £1,500 award sponsored by The Body Shop. And this goes to Greg Wright of Sherman Oaks, California, for his scheme for an electronic global suggestion box that can be accessed by computer and modem. He hopes to have a prototype version up and running within 18 months. Actually, the physics scientist stay running. Here to collect the prize and speak on his behalf is Peter Russell, who is himself most appropriately the author of a book called Global Brain.
Thank you. I'm sure Greg will be thank Nick and Anita and the Institute and the Body Shop for valuing the suggestion. It's also nice, Greg asked me to come here and represent him just because I'm a friend of Greg's. Then we realised afterwards I actually had a connection with this project. About 4 or 5 years ago, I was in a friend's kitchen with Greg in Los Angeles. And we were just talking about all these extra ideas we had. What do we do with them? Books we never have time to write, projects we never have the money to actually get them going. And what we do is we hold on to them. We don't actually tell people. Why don't we just put them out into the world? And I always feel that ideas are the currency of culture. And what we do with most of our ideas is we hold on to them. We keep them for ourselves, either for egocentric reasons, we want them, or we think there's money to be made out of them. In fact, ideas come to us free, and I believe they should be given out freely in the society. We can't make use of them, then other people have. And so I was really pleased to see that Greg had taken this on and turned it into this idea of a global suggestions box. I would like to call it a global suggestions bank. So if ideas are the currency of culture and the wealth of a culture, I think it can be measured partly by the flow of ideas through the culture, and this is also a bank of ideas. And Greg's idea is that people send in through, as Nick's already said, through modem, or through telephone, or through the post. And Greg's also got other ideas, what he calls AIMs, like ATMs, automated teller machines, but automated idea machines. Somehow people could send ideas in to this computer bank, what he calls IdeaNet. And this would be computer database of all the ideas, which people would then access and see what ideas were in there and what ideas they wanted to use. An idea to be arranged in different categories, different subcategories, you could access it in many different ways. Being on a computer, we've got that flexibility to access it in different ways. And it would be individuals feeding in ideas, but also what Greg calls IGOs, idea-generating organisations, like the Institute of Social Inventions and many, many others. Greg's got his own data bank, literally, on all the different organisations. If I listed them, that would take my whole 4 minutes just to list them all this. So they would feed in ideas, and then people, when they accessed it, could actually rank the ideas. you're going to go in and look at a particular category and give points to ideas. And those ideas would rise up to the top. So you have a running top 20 in any individual category. So you can see what the most popular ideas were. So you wouldn't have to wade through thousands of ideas to find an interesting one. The ones that no one liked to sort of sit down. So that's the basic idea. And the real value of this, I think, is just this thing of networking ideas, sharing them throughout society. And it will be funded partly by sponsors, maybe governments, maybe grant-giving bodies or businesses, but also by people who access it, people who wanted to access it and get ideas out. And the idea is those who actually took part in the ranking will get reduced fees, or those who fed in ideas will get reduced fees, maybe better fee. And Greg is at the moment in California, he's not here, he's working on a microcosm of the bank, getting it up and running. He's getting his own bulletin board going, which will be a suggestion box on the global suggestion box. So this will be a bulletin board where people can feed in ideas. So he says if anybody here has ideas, they are most welcome, and he'll start publishing an interim newsletter and begin working out the standards, the protocols, how to get it working on a big computer setup. That's what he's working on at the moment. And I know that this prize that he's got will go towards him holding up and running and going.
The big pitch. Hi, I'm Greg Wright. I'm a recreational thinker, and ideas are my most important product. Ideas that add social value, create beauty, and afford the widest possible opportunities for public participation. Skyscraper solar spires, gleaming in the hopefully cleaner skies of the solar century about to begin. These imaginatively designed retrofit structures, a variety of ziggurats, pyramids, domes, and spires, would support a variety of solar energy devices such as solar thermal tubes for heating and cooling, solar photovoltaic panels for electricity, and fiber optic daylight concentrators for illumination, and would be placed upon the roofs of existing high-rise, mid-rise, and low-rise buildings. Residents of cities like Houston and San Francisco and Los Angeles will work on the World Wide Web, individually or in small groups, to design these exciting new structures and the new solar energy producing skylines of their cities. And in New York City itself, the United Nations building's landmark Secretariat structure could be the subject of an international design competition, again over the World Wide Web, to create a new solar United Nations headquarters. An example for the rest of the world and an inspiration to the solar century ahead. Visualizing a better future is the best way to create a better future. Why not put up on the World Wide Web photographs of a great variety of locales in our American cities, towns, and neighborhoods as they are today, and invite people in those places and everywhere else to create visions and versions of how those places might be in the future. More beautiful, more ecological, more sustainable, as in this pair of present and future versions of a typical American neighborhood as visualized by Los Angeles eco-artist Thomas Slagle. Also, why not time cams? Time-lapsing webcams on the World Wide Web that archive one video frame at the same sun time each day to create a time-lapse sequence over the outgoing years and decades of the new century, on into the century after that, which will reveal a metamorphic evolution of our built environment and our natural environment, hopefully more often for the better than for the worse, and an inspiration in the former case and a cautionary tale in the latter. And how about flower texture? The most beautiful architecture of tomorrow, I believe, will be based on the forms, colors, and structures of flowers. as in this depiction, still under construction, of Flowerland, the world's first floral theme park. Giant flowers, small flowers, big stretches that look like flowers that are covered with thousands and millions of real flowers. A bloom of color evolving throughout the entire year of chandelier-like structures covered with flowers, float-like structures covered with flowers, fragrance, color, and beauty, pointing the way to flower texture. The architecture of the 21st century, which combined with solar energy, will create a world that is sustainable, beautiful, and one hell of a lot of fun. And how about a school system theme park? Designed, built, and operated by the students at a major American high school or a major metropolitan school system. A place like Flowerland. It would also contain attractions like the Halusa Chamber, where dynamic camouflage makes the near and the far, the personal and the not personal, the solid and the not solid, all basically the same thing to one's eyes and senses. Or, like a carousel, the Wheel of Faces, two counter-rotating wheels in pitch blackness, illuminated by strobe flashlights when the people who are at in equally distant pods from one another, rotating in the darkness, are passing each other's faces, creating, via persistence of vision, the same phenomenon that makes motion pictures possible, the sense of one face as all faces, a continuously morphing omni-face, which is all of the people on the inside or the outside of the facing wheel. This could create, I believe, the first totally repeatable group mental telepathy. And one way to create this school system theme park would be to inaugurate a new system of school micro-vouchers. These would be for students' special projects. A micro-voucher for the after-school hours for each student to pursue a creative project of his or her own choosing. This could involve designing and building components and features of the school system amusement park. It could also be forming a band, creating a mural, designing software, designing a fashion line, writing a book, perfecting a hobby or skill, or creating a science project, or any of a huge number of possible things which would be supported by the school micro-voucher program, funding each student's special project. Well, I've got a zillion more ideas, a lot more concepts, but we're running out of sun, running out of battery, running out of tape, running out of time. We're not running out of ideas, but I'm getting sunstroke, so see you next time. Ta-ta!
Cut.
Right thinking.